Okay, let me give you guys some more practice. So here, sketch this function here. Remember, start out with your f of x equals sine of x, and then slowly transform it into this function here. So start out with sketch it roughly like this. This is 360. Your normal sine of x is 360. But then then you would apply your transformation where you have 8x here and so on, and then this here gets squeezed inwards, and then blah 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 blah. Just a clue, it's not a matter of shifting it across by 90, because whenever you have a coefficient here greater than, well, other than 1, then well, here, because the coefficient is not 1, only when it's 1 do you shift it across by whatever is given here. But because the coefficient here is 8, this doesn't mean you shift it across by 90. It does not mean that. Well, anyway, press pause and have a go. Okay, so to do this, let's try and picture our function. Start out with sine of x here. So sine of x will give us a graph looking like this. Will give us a graph looking like this. So this is sine of x. So this is 360. Our next transformation, remember, our aim is to get from here to here. So our next transformation is to multiply by 8, and then we're going to shift it in such a way that it will give us, it will be represented by this 90. You see what I mean later. So here, start out with this function here. Next, apply this transformation here, 8x here. So that would then give us sine of 8x. Well, sine of 8, when you apply this transformation here, this thing here will get squeezed inwards. So at the moment, the period is 360. So because you've applied this here, everything will get squeezed inwards by a factor of 8. So what that means is this there will be 8 of these. 1, 2, 3, and so on. There will be 8 of them. So our new graph, the period of our new graph, the period from here to here, would be 360 divided by 8, because our normal sine graph is 360. When you apply this transformation here, you're squeezing everything inwards. So yeah, so you've got to get 360 divided by 8. What's 360 divided by 8? Well, visualize the circle here. This is 360. The whole circle is 360. If you divide it by 4, it's 90 degrees. If you divide it by 8, it will be 45 degrees. Well, anyway, 360 divided by well, after applying this transformation here, our graph will look like this. It will look something like this, not to scale. So this here will be 45. So the period is 45. So we started out with this function here, f of x equals well, our aim is to get to this 8 x and then minus 90. That was our aim. Okay, originally this was our aim here. Okay, this is our aim here, to get to that. So we started out with this is our aim here. We started out with from the start, we're going to say, okay, we've got a function sine of x here. Let's slowly transform it into this. So our first step was to do this. 8x equals sine 8x here, and then what do we need? Our next transformation here is, what do we need to put into this thing here? Well, what do we need to put into this thing here, where this whole thing here equals our original here, equals this? What do we need? Let me. So we got to this stage here. Now, when you get to this stage here, what do we need to put into here in order to give us our original target, which was this here? What do we need to put in? Well, if you shift it across by 90, you see, if you put x minus 90 into here, it would not give us the original, because look, if you want to shift it across by 90 by doing this here, it will give us this sine bracket 8. Remember, this whole thing here goes into the x here. So this is our x here, but then what goes into there will be x minus 90. Remember, it's this whole thing here, this whole bubble here, being put into the x. Okay, so the whole lot, including the x, gets put into the x, if that makes sense. Well, then that would then give us sine 8x minus 700. And well, can you see that this is not our original target here. Our original target is 90. You see, when you're here, you don't shift it across by 90. By you doing this, wanting to shift it across by 90, you're changing the whole thing. So this should not be the case. So to do this here, hang on, to really understand this here, this is what we're trying to understand. Sorry, hang on. F of x equals sine bracket 8x minus 90. You see, to really understand this, first factorize out the 8 here. So rewrite this whole thing as this, sine bracket 8, and then try and get x on its own. So here it will be this, factorize it, whatever this is, 90 over 8. Okay, so yeah, so if you multiply this and this times this times this here, then it should give you this. Okay, so this whole thing here is this whole thing here. Okay, you see, by writing it like this, you know you can first start out with your sine of x, and then by looking at this, yes, you can translate it to you can then transform it to f of 8x. So you know you're going to squeeze it. Okay, and then because you've written it in this form here, you can see that you shift it across by this amount. Okay, by this amount here. So you can then apply this transformation here, x minus 90 over 8. You can actually apply this. That means you shift it across to the right by this amount here, which is 10 point something. Okay, so you can then, yeah, so start out like this, but then rearrange it so you get it in this form here. So when it's in this form here, you know you can squeeze. So when you come to sketch it, you know you can squeeze. So you start out with 360 here. You then squeeze it inwards. Okay, and then our next step is to apply this transformation here. That means you shift everything across by 10 point something, by 9 over 8. Sorry, 90 over 8. So your new graph, when you sketch it, it will look something like this. Okay, and then this gap here is actually this gap here is actually 90 over 8. Okay, so when you come to sketch it like this. Just roughly will do, just so that you can get an idea of what's going on. Okay, but just something important is that if you have f of x here, and then you have sine x minus 90. In this case, because the coefficient here is 1, then yes, in this case it's simply shifting it across by 90. But if you have something like 8x here, you have to do this. There's no other way. Okay?